This video will demonstrate what an ARP cache poisoning attack is. In this case, we have a topology in even G. So the goal of the attack is for the attacker, in this case the threat actor, to intercept the victim's traffic. So first of all, the threat actor pings the outside. So in this case, I'll just do Wikipedia. As the address resolves, the router builds an ARP table. So then it does an ARP request, and then you can see from here that we have the MAC address of the router as well as the IP address of the router. So that's the first part. Now eventually the threat actor is going to appropriate, so spoof, the MAC address of the router in order to make the client think that it is the default gateway, and eventually the client will believe it as well as the router, which is going to confirm it. So now that the hacker knows what the IP address of the router is from its MAC address, now he's going to determine what the IP address of the victim is using ZenMap. ZenMap is just an application on the Kali Linux. This is a previous scan, but essentially what I can start it over. ZenMap. Okay, so since it knows the IP address 1254, and it knows its own IP address, obviously the default gateway is in the same subnet. So we have 192.168.1024. Here we have for nmap. The idea is the capital F is for a fast scan, so the top 100 ports. We don't want a reverse lookup, so we don't want it to match the IP to host name. So we have an N for this, and then no ping for the host in the network, essentially, so it's faster. So we run the scan. Bingo, we find the host. Using this information, we go back to our terminal right here, and then we are going to issue this command right here. This command enables the IP forwarding, so it essentially turns the attacker's host into a router and is able to spoof the ARP cache. Then we are going to begin the ARP messages. So the ARP spoof, so the I for the interface, so that's the interface on which it is. The target computer is the one that we just found using ZenMap. And then the default gateway, 192.168.1254. So run this. So now through these messages, what's going to happen is it's eventually going to convince the victim that the default gateway is a threat actor. Now, if I go into the victim's computer, and this results into a denial of service, because as you know, if all the traffic gets sent to the threat actor, it doesn't go through the router, and the threat actor is not actually a router, but it'll be able to intercept all of the traffic. So there we go. And then if I go here, I'm going to do an ARP request, and you can see I just had to give it a little time, but look at what happened. You can see that it's the exact same MAC address, different IP addresses. So you can see that by this, you can see that there's evidence that the computer's been hacked. And if I try to ping, I can try to get to Toronto, the website. We didn't get the message yet, but it's probably going to be a denial of service. Okay, actually, let's do a packet capture. We begin here. I can try anything. I can try the city of New York, say. And you can see there's going to be some DNS queries. Okay, so if I go and I stop this and I look inside the DNS query, say any of them, I can see we have IP protocol. at gstatic.com, so I know which address it tried to resolve. So that's how the address is. That's how rather the attack is carried out. As you can see, trouble finding the site. Now, as soon as I stop this, it cannot remain. So the spoofing cannot remain eternally. This is not. It's only a temporary solution. Eventually, it stops, and then the internet should be regained at this point. So a solution to this problem is to do dynamic ARP inspection. So in this case, we're going to do it on the switch, obviously. So connect to the switch, and then we want to trust the gigabit 00 and the 12, but not the other one where essentially it's a rogue computer that joined. And then you do the inspection. So to begin with, just watch what I'm doing. Oh, yes. Same thing for 12. And then we do IP ARP inspection, of course. Finally, you run this command, IP ARP inspection VLAN 1 in config, and so in global configuration mode.